Alright, now that you've seen the intro and seen how fast this build can shred through bosses, let me show how I'm getting so much damage here. The main skill that we're taking advantage of, or the main augment we're taking advantage of, is Neutron Capture, which allows 4% of her action skill damage to do bonus radiation damage, and this adds to every single bullet you fire, which is why I was able to do so much damage. Now, let me show that off just so you know what I mean. So basically, my normal gun damage, we're not doing too much. Now, let me show you what the damage is gonna look like once I throw on the nuke. So once we get this nuke damage going, then we blow it up. Now, we're doing all of that extra radiation damage for every single bullet. So now we're doing huge amounts of damage. And that's basically the bones of the build. There's a lot more I'll show off to make it even better, but basically you're just hitting a big chunk of damage with your CHROMA accelerator, trying to get as much stacked up as you can, and then once you blow it up, you just want to spam out as many bullets as possible so you take advantage of that 4% of action skill damage dealt. Let me first start with my gear, and then we'll head over to the skills. So the plasma coil, this is an amazing gun for Harlowe, especially because it has the radiation element on it, and it'll always have the radiation element. This is great for mobbing. This is what I use for mobbing. Just, it will clear out anything. I'll show some clips of that later on when we show off this build a little bit better, but this thing shreds through anything. I really like the Wombo combo as a second shredding gun, but I will say Agon's Dream, which is the one that you saw in all of the intro clips, this is the absolute best gun for this build, especially if you're able to get a Ripper licensed mag on it. I was able to get a Ripper one on my Wombo combo also, but the Ripper licensed mag makes this build even better just with the sheer amount of bullets you're able to get out. And this gun also has a double barrel mode too, so you're able to just shoot even faster. These are really the only two guns you need, Plasma Coil and Agon's Dream, or just any other thing that has a bunch of fire rate, but the Agon's Dream is the best thing I've found so far. And then I just have the Cricket on for fun, but you can throw any gun you want on. The Golden God's really good on Harlowe. That's probably what I'd suggest. The Golden God's really good. And if you find anything else you like I have a corrosive Wombo combo. If you just want to throw a different gun on, really do whatever here. I have the shiny Warpaint Repkit. This is really good because on use you get 30% fire rate for 15 seconds, which is just really good. Now, this is the thing that makes the build ridiculously busted. You don't need this by any means for the build, but if you want to shred the bosses as fast as I was in the clips, you definitely do need this. All it has to be is a Jacob's throwing knife with the penetrator augment, because it allows all damage to the impacted target are automatic critical hits for 5 seconds, which it's just ridiculous. I like to use the atomic driver because it just amps your CHROMA accelerator and makes it do even more damage. But let's say you don't have this, I would say just throw on a good red tree class mod, or if you get the bio robot, I'm pretty sure this drops from Idolator Sol. This is also very good because whenever she's entangling the enemies with her CHROMA thing, it's doing cryo and radiation damage, which helps stack damage. So there's a lot of class mods that make this build viable. And then I also really like to use the Skeptic when I'm mobbing, and I'll show you why in a little bit, but the Skeptic is amazing for mobbing, especially when you're running this build. Now, you can use the Watts for dinner, you can use the fireworks, you can use Timekeeper's new shield. You can really use whatever shield you want. I'm sure at some point there will probably be the best shield, but really throw on whatever, it really doesn't matter. Now for my enhancement, I'm using a Vladoff enhancement with the bullet hose thing, which basically guns with Vladoff licensed parts have a 30% chance to add an extra projectile. And this one has assault rifle fire rate, so it's just helping for this build. It's making the assault rifle shoot faster, and it's giving them a chance to hopefully have extra projectiles. It definitely helps with the Wombo combo, gives you more rockets under it, and I'm assuming it helps with Agon's Dream also because it's a Vladoff gun. Now this build isn't perfect by any means, but I wanted to have good versatility. I wanted you to be able to mob and boss and not have so much into bossing that it makes mobbing not very good. And because of that, you'll see some of the skills I chose. Like, I have status effect chance up to 50% because it makes the plasma coil so good. You don't need this. You could go in fire rate instead if you want to shred bosses slightly faster, but I'm looking for a versatile build here. I didn't really need the extra fire rate. Increased action skill damage, you want this because it makes your CHROMA accelerator better. I just threw 1 point into here because it unlocks this skill, which gives you 21% extra radiation damage, which helps with this and your plasma coil. Status effect duration. Now this one, honestly, you do not need this. I think it's much more worth it to spec into this skill because whenever Harlowe shoots an entangled enemy, she gains a portion of her action skill cooldown. So if you're shooting a boss with that and then you shred them, you basically get your action skill back instantly. But I decided status effect duration, but really, the other one is probably better. Harlowe gains increased radiation damage. This is great for this and for the plasma coil. Glow up's pretty good, but you don't need it. It just gives you better critical hit chance. Harlowe deals bonus radiation to entangled enemies. This is good. And this is amazing because whenever I hit an enemy with radiation or do the dot damage to them, it creates an radiation explosion that deals 80% of the total damage because I have a point from my class mod into it. And then this is the one you want for the capstone. You want Demon Core in the capstone because it will just cause your CHROMA accelerator to do so much more damage. Each radiation dart does 4,461, and the big explosion does 8,900. So 2 of these are more than the big explosion. So you definitely want that. I think this one's pretty good. Whenever Harlowe damages an enemy with a skill, she gains increased skill damage. This effect stacks, so it just causes your CHROMA accelerator to keep doing more damage as it passes by. And then I also have restore shield capacity from my class mod, so that's just a nice bonus without having any points spec'd into that. Status effect even more, so whenever Harlowe applies a status effect to an enemy, she gains a chance to apply that status effect to each entangled enemy. Whenever Harlowe irradiates an enemy, she gains increased gun damage. And then the final one, whenever Harlowe deals radiation damage to an enemy, she gains increased action skill damage. So there's just so much mixing and matching going on here. Skills that help boost each other. I'm going to be using Origo as the example for this video, at least the boss example, and I'm going to be showing off a few different class mods and a few different weapons and just show that you don't need a perfect build to make this work, but there are definitely some things that make it a lot better. For the first kill, I'm going to be using the exact build I showed off, and then I'll just walk you through it nicely. So the very first thing you want to do is you want to wait for him to come in, and then we're going to launch off our gravity bomb, our CHROMA accelerator. So we're going to launch it, then we're going to use our Repkit, and then we want to get the throwing knife off, hit him with the throwing knife, blow it up, and then just spam. And he's dead, just like that. So basically, those are the combos if you want to get the absolute fastest kill possible. But let me just show you that you really don't need all of that. That is really just overkill. Hey, and let's go. We got a cryo Chaos Sun. Nice. And I do just want to note real quick, that was on Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, the hardest difficulty at the moment. So this build shreds. Now, let's not use the throwing knife this time. So let's say you don't have this Jacob's throwing knife. I'm going to keep everything the same, but I'm just not going to use the throwing knife this time. It's still going to work great, but you'll be able to tell it is a little bit less damage for sure. Okay, so we're going to use the CHROMA accelerator, pop our Repkit, let it get near him. All right, blow it up, and then we shred. And we can see it's still great damage, but it's just not quite as much. But it's still ridiculous damage. Let's throw in a different one. So let's say you don't have the atomic driver. Let's say you just have a normal purple class mod. Let's just test it out with the purple class mod now. A purple class mod, so the CHROMA accelerator does not have quite as much damage. It doesn't get that special amp effect. But let's still see how this goes. So we're gonna launch that, pop our Repkit. Oh yeah, you can see it's less damage, but we're still gonna shred. We're still gonna shred, just like that. I'm back to doing everything that was the same with my original build, but now this time I'm gonna use the Wombo combo instead of the Aegon stream. You can still see that this is going to be a great weapon, but it's just not quite as good as the Aegon stream. Okay, so we're going to launch that, pop our Repkit, hit him with the knife, blow it up, and dead. Alright, now for what this build looks like when I'm mobbing. I decided to make my way over to the Rippa Roadbirds, the guys who dropped the Wombo combo, to show this off. But the main things I'd recommend changing is switch your enhancement, or at least the enhancement that I'm using is a Malawan enhancement, where when I get a kill, it has a chance to spread the status effect to 3 nearby targets. And I got lucky enough that this has SMG critical damage and gun splash radius, which double boosts the plasma coil. I like to use the fireworks shield. This is great for mobbing. The missiles that spawn out just deal so much damage. And then I also threw on the Skeptic, and I really like this because the specific one I got puts 1 point into stun lock. Whenever you get a critical hit, it throws them into stasis, which is basically like phase lock. So you get CHROMA Accelerator, the big explosion, and you kind of also get the phase lock ability, which is awesome. Now let's do some damage. Now let me show this off. The plasma coil is an amazing gun. Just like it was in BL3, this thing shreds. Especially with Harlowe's radiation damage. I honestly don't really have more to show off other than the fact you just want to be launching this whenever you have it. Try to get as much damage, and then go clean up those kills as quick as you can after, because you'll have that extra damage on your gun to basically just burn through everything. I don't really have much more to show off for this Harlowe build. I'll have another one coming out hopefully tomorrow, maybe in the next 2 or 3 days, depending on how long it takes me to get it down where I want it. But it is basically an infinite status effect build on Harlowe. You basically shoot an enemy once and they'll just die to the status effect, like the Black Plague or something. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like and sub if you want to see more Borderlands 4 content. I'm going to be posting tons of shorts, tons of build videos, just everything. I'm in love with this game so far. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will just see you in the next one.